Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. 13 years after the birth of Imam Abu Hanifa Rahimahullah, a second star came into this world. In the year 93 after Hijrah, Imam Dar al-Hijrah was born. Imam Malik ibn Anas ibn Malik ibn Nafi' al-Asbahi, the founder of the Maliki Madhab. There were many ulama who traveled the world in pursuit of knowledge, but Imam Malik Rahimahullah was a little different. He was Yemeni in origin, but he was born in Medina. He studied in Medina. He taught in Medina and passed away in Medina. And yet he was an unparalleled giant where knowledge of deen was concerned. Medina had become the home of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam after the Hijrah, and it is there that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam remained until Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away. As a result, Medina became one of the hubs of knowledge in the Muslim world. Medina was famous for its ulama. Much of the luminaries were to be found in Medina, and it is under these great scholars that Imam Malik Rahimahullah studied. Imam Malik Rahimahullah began studying the deen at a very young age. His mastery over hadith and fiqh was soon recognized throughout Medina. And so it was that at the young age of only 17 years old, that 70 of the senior ulama of the time appointed Imam Malik Rahimahullah to the position of having his own circle of students and to give fatwa as well. In fact, such was the knowledge and understanding of Imam Malik Rahimahullah that some of his own teachers later on became his students. In the days of before, being placed in a position to teach or to give fatwa was no small feat. It wasn't just a matter of having studied a few years by someone and then deciding to speak on the deen the way many people do today. No one ever did such a thing in the past, and the ulama would never have stood idle and allowed something like that to happen either. People would study for decades before ever passing a fatwa. So it was the norm to find the ulama who had circles of students and who would give fatwa to be generally elderly people. But the knowledge that Allah bestowed upon Imam Malik Rahimahullah was so awe-inspiring that he was loved and revered by everyone, and that despite his young age, they recognized the extent of his knowledge, so they were unanimous that he is deserving of the position of being a mufti and a teacher. Imam Malik Rahimahullah soon began teaching the deen to thousands of people, and this was in fact a prophecy of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that the ulama of the time said was referring to Imam Malik Rahimahullah. There's a hadith wherein Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, يوشك أن يضرب الناس أكباد الإبل يطلبون العلم فلا يجدون أحدا أعلم من عالم المدينة. That soon a time will come when people will beat the livers of their camels. Beating of the livers refers to traveling. So soon a time will come when people will beat the livers of their camels in search of knowledge, and they won't find anyone more knowledgeable than the alim of Medina. These are the words spoken by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Imam at-Tirmidhi rahimahullah reports this hadith as well. And the ulama of the time of Imam Malik rahimahullah said that there is no one that these words have more clearly pointed to than Imam Malik rahimahullah. After all, he was known as the alim of Medina. He was Imam Dar al-Hijrah. Dar al-Hijrah is another name for Medina, the place where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam made hijrah to. Amongst the famous students of Imam Malik Rahimahullah is another shining star of Islam. That is Imam Shafi'i Rahimahullah. And regarding Imam Malik, Imam Shafi'i Rahimahullah said, إِذَا ذُكِرَ الْعُلَمَاءُ فَمَالِكُ نَجْمٌ. That when the ulama are mentioned, then Imam Malik Rahimahullah is a star amongst them. The thing which really established Imam Malik Rahimahullah's place in history though, is his compilation of the Muwatta. Although the ulama were already compiling a hadith in book form prior to that of Imam Malik Rahimahullah, but his Muwatta took things to another level altogether, because he listed within it only those ahadith whose chains of narration are absolutely sound. And he then took this compilation to 70 of the senior ulama of Medina, and they all agreed and ratified the authenticity of the kitab. And it was on the basis of this that Imam Malik Rahimahullah got the idea to name his kitab the Muwatta, because the Muwatta means the well-trodden, relied upon path. At the time when Imam Maalik Rahimahullah had compiled this kitab, the other famous books of hadith didn't exist as yet because the scholars who wrote it or compiled it were not yet born. There was no Sahih al-Bukhari or Muslim, Tirmidhi, Abu Dawud, Nasai, and so on and so forth. And it is regarding this Muwatta that Imam Shafi'i Rahimahullah said, it is the most authentic book ever to be authored after the Quran. That is the rank that the Muwatta of Imam Malik has, and it continues to hold that rank up until this very day. Except, as the ulama have mentioned, at the time when Imam Shafi'i Rahimahullah made the statement, the Sahih of Imam al-Bukhari Rahimahullah was not yet compiled, and had Imam Shafi'i Rahimahullah been alive in the time of Imam Bukhari, he would have made the statement regarding the Sahih of Imam al-Bukhari Rahimahullah. But both kitabs are 100% authentic, relied upon, great kitabs. The Muwatta and its author are held in such high regard that when Imam Bukhari Rahimahullah himself was asked about what chain of narration for a hadith is the best and most authentic in his view, that same Imam al-Bukhari Rahimahullah, he replied saying that it is when Imam Maalik Rahimahullah reports from Imam Nafi', who reports from Hadrat Abdullah ibn Umar radiyallahu anhuma, who in turn heard it from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. In these narrations, Imam Maalik only has two narrators between himself and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So from the point of Imam Bukhari, it was Imam Maalik, then Imam Nafi', then Hadrat Abdullah ibn Umar, making it three narrators. And this is known as as-silsilatu dhahab, the golden chain, in the opinion of Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah. When a person looks at Imam Maalik rahimahullah from a physical perspective, the ulama have explained that Imam Maalik rahimahullah was a very handsome man. In fact, he was considered to be one of the most handsome people in all of Medina. When they describe Imam Maalik Rahimahullah, they describe him as being tall, well-built, fair of complexion with blonde hair and blue eyes. His clothing was always impeccable. The whites were whiter than white, and his clothing was always fresh, soft, and clean looking. There was never creases and dirt anywhere to be seen on Imam Maalik Rahimahullah. Imam Maalik Rahimahullah was from a noble lineage of piety and knowledge. The grandfather of Imam Maalik Rahimahullah, whose name was also Malik, Malik ibn Nafi' Rahimahullah to be exact, he was one of the tabi'een that assisted Hadrat Uthman ibn Affan radiyallahu anhu with the writing of the Quran, the Mus'haf, when it was written for the purpose of distribution to the various Muslim lands. And he was also one of the 4 people that had conducted the ghusl and the burial of Hadrat Uthman radiyallahu anhu. Imam Maalik Rahimahullah was a person that was steadfast in his proclamation of the haqq regardless of the consequences, and he was also known for his rejection of all forms of bid'ah and corrupt beliefs. On one occasion, one of the rulers of the time forbade Imam Maalik Rahimahullah from narrating a certain hadith, and so he was then sent as a spy to the gathering of Imam Maalik Rahimahullah to see if Imam Maalik Rahimahullah complied with his forbidding, or from him being forbidden from narrating this hadith. But Imam Maalik Rahimahullah did not even consider this being forbidden. So Imam Maalik Rahimahullah, in front of all of the masses, everyone, spy and all, he narrated that same hadith. And so the spy took this news back, and Imam Maalik Rahimahullah was then arrested, and he was beaten so severely that his shoulder was dislocated and he passed out as a result of the pain. Yet upon waking and having his arm in this condition, it was not enough to make Imam Maalik Rahimahullah even consider for a moment keeping silent from speaking the haqq and narrating the ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The life of Imam Maalik Rahimahullah was one of immense involvement in learning and teaching the deen, as well as worshipping Allah. And in fact, it was the habit of Imam Maalik Rahimahullah to suspend all of his classes during the month of Ramadan, and he would dedicate his entire time to the Quran, because Ramadan is the month of the Quran. This is a brief look at the life of this giant of Islam. May Allah allow us to take lessons from his life and follow in his footsteps, because these were people who were normal people. They were not angels. They were not Anbiya alayhimus salam. They were normal human beings, but they spent every moment in the worship of Allah, and they spent every moment doing that which Allah wanted from them, and that is why their ranks have been raised to such a level. So may Allah grant us the understanding and the ability to also spend our lives in His worship, so that we may become closer to Him the way we should be doing. آمين يا رب العالمين وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.